Welcome back, everyone, to the Martian Tomato Podcast. I am Marley, or Mars Bars.
I'm Brennan slash Tomato.
And before we start, we just want to greet you all happy Canada Day. We are both from Canada, and it's actually a very uneventful Canada Day. Usually, where we live in, the city that we live in, there's usually not lots of celebration, but there's like this city held kind of celebration held at very like
At pond. At a
yeah,
pond, yeah.
like a pond, basically a pond type of area. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess none of that will be happening today. I don't know. Like, it's very uneventful. Most people are just staying home for obvious
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, for obvious reasons. I know they're gonna do fireworks somewhere, but obviously I don't really know where because they have it disclosed, but
Yeah, well, there's always been like fireworks in Canada Day here where we live. But like the
mm,
thing is that since everyone's staying home, like I don't know if like they're gonna do like citywide fireworks because like our city's pretty small, but it's not that small to the point where like from like across the town you can like see fireworks. Like I know like we can't really see where the fireworks are in
yeah, exactly.
yeah like where we are excuse me, where we are at. Like I know for sure like if they're like setting off fireworks like downtown, it's just like I mean like no basically no one except if unless if you're near in that vicinity would be able to see it. So I don't know. It's a very uneventful and boring kind of day. Usually it's not like
Yeah.
that. Usually we get some news and like other types of media as well. Like I know 2 years ago, LeBron James just signed with the Lakers, and that was huge. Because
Yep.
I'm a Lakers fan, and
Mm,
that was massive. That was like big of it. I was like because I found that out in the car,
yep.
and I just was just freaking out. Like I had to control my like freaking outness.
Yeah, it was great for me too because my Raptors didn't get swept. So great time.
Oh yeah, because like yeah. If you don't know, Brendan is also a Raptors fan as well, and
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, I mean, if anyone here knows the NBA, um, LeBron has kind of been like he kind of beats the Raptors to a pulp in terms of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, before we stray away from the main topics that we have for you today, be sure to check out our Instagram account. That'd be Galactic Error Resolved. The link will be down in the description below. And we're actually doing a mini series or just like a series on our Instagram account because so far not a lot of content has been pumped out there lately. So we kind of want to keep that account more lively and vibrant. So we've been
Yep.
doing we've been ranking our top 10 favorite villains, and this is more than just the Arrowverse. It's just like
Yep.
all types of media.
Mm.
And Brendan just did his number 8 yesterday. Uh,
Yes, I did.
and yeah, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Check out our Instagram account, Galactic Arrowverse Hub, and yeah, we'll see you there. So we'll jump right into Stargirl. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. Stargirl, yesterday's episode. So, Brendan, what were your thoughts on that?
So it was a really good episode. I felt like it's more. We're getting more of like Stargirl learning how to become like the leader of the group. Like, Stripesy is like trying to teach them like how to more as a team. But when they were like training and whatnot, Stargirl kind of just like killed all the bucket heads.
Yeah, she's very nice. She's a very naive and flawed character because that's
Yeah,
definitely
like she needs to understand like when you're fighting as a team, you need to know your strengths and weaknesses. So like need to know how to fight together because Stargirl, you took a couple thing big ones, and like last time, like you guys all could have almost died to the sports guy and the other girl. I forget her name. Yeah, they just need to learn how to work together. I think, and we'll get that in the future. They'll get that. I think it will just take a little bit of time. I'm curious what they're going to do next episode because I've seen a couple images of what they're doing and whatnot.
the promo it's the second part because like this is a two-parter episode
Yeah,
two-parter. So the second part I guess like we have because like it's all focused on the Shiv character, and it's nice we get more backstory on her because all that we know her is that like she's just like the spoiled like school bully. Like
yeah,
it's not really surprised to know that she is like a son or daughter of the
mm,
JSA, or sorry, ISA. And she's very ambitious, and like I said, we get more behind her It's really
Yeah.
interesting, and I think this is kind of important because I feel like she's going to play a much larger role later on down the season, and hopefully in seasons to come.
Yeah.
Um, I actually kind of had there's actually like a theory going around now. I asked you because this is actually our second time trying to record this. I asked you this in our first time. Would you like to see any of the children of the ISA kind of have like a redemption story arc? Because there's a theory going around that Icicle's son, I forgot his name, but Icicle's son is gonna like I guess near the end of the season he's gonna find out that his dad is like part of the ISA and he's like a bad
Mhm.
guy, but he wants to follow in his father's footsteps, so like he goes evil and whatnot, but like he's gonna have some sort of like redemption story arc and whatnot. Do you think that that's gonna happen in season two?
I think so. I think it definitely will happen. I think because he's an only child. Well, he's an only child, and his mother's dead. So I feel like they're gonna capture Icicle or do something like that. And then like he's just gonna be like on his own and probably go into foster care or something like that, or go live with his other parents or something like, or his grandparents or whatever. Then like he's just gonna be mad that Stargirl kind of ruined his life or something, and then he's just gonna get a bunch of people together. I feel like this will be next season, definitely not this season, obviously. And then there's gonna bring back like a couple of the kids of the son and daughters of the Justice Society, and then probably destroy them. I don't know, try to take revenge on them. I mean, not destroy them, but I think that will definitely happen next season. And I'm just curious, like still curious about how the training is going to go because, as we know, Stripesy is not really a fighter, if that makes sense. I'm still curious
Yeah,
at how they're going to fight, sort of thing. That's all, or how they're going to train, likely.
yeah. Do you think that next season, okay, with next season, do you think that there's going to be like like some kids of the ISA will like actually join the JSA? Like, do you think
I think so.
because Artemis, I think we mentioned this last week, but Artemis, who is the daughter of Sportsmaster, and I think Tigress, I think that's her name, their
Yeah,
names. Well, Artemis, I mean, most comic fans would know her as the Artemis, as like the female Emerald Archer or the female Green Arrow, basically. So,
yeah.
do you think that some kids of the ISA would join the JSA? Do you think
I
that's
think
gonna be a
so.
possibility?
I think so. I think like they're like Stargirl and her friends. Well, and once they get all of their superpower friends together, then they're going to go up against them and then probably beat them is probably what's going to happen. And then next season maybe Icicle's kid sees this and he's like, yeah, I'm going to take revenge and get my own people, and then maybe take Stargirl and their friends to their limits by maybe taking out their family, maybe taking out like their friends and whatnot, taking them out one by one, sort of thing, making them realize that they made a mistake by doing what they did, sort of thing. So I think they will definitely, like the kids of the Injustice Society will definitely make their own group eventually. I just don't know when.
Do you think that they're gonna get killed off in some way?
Um, ooh, that's tough.
Because I feel
Um,
like some of them are like gonna have like a redemption arc where it's like, yeah, they kind of realize what they're done. They don't really want to be as sadistic as like their parents, so like
yeah,
maybe like they join the JSA. Like I like the
yeah,
most
I can
notable
see
one
that.
I've seen is probably like Icicle's son because he seems to be the most cool headed out of all the
Yeah,
kids of the ISA. Like you have Shiv who's like really hot headed. You have the Artemis girl. She's also, I mean, I guess she is kind of hot headed as well. And then you also have Henry King Jr. who's like he's very conflicted. He's a
so
very conflicted kind of
he's
person.
yeah, he's kind of conflicted. He's kind of just losing his mind. We kind of saw a little bit of this episode, like him just hearing answers in his head and just kind of going insane.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. For me, it kind of seems like he's gonna be like some sort of like reoccurring anti-hero slash villain either like
Yeah,
next season because like I mean like there's no reason because there has to be a reason for him developing his powers over the season. We're getting hints of
yeah.
him actually gaining his father's power. So it's like, well, I mean, it's not that's not just going to go to waste. Obviously, that's going to be plain, but that's also
Icicle
going to
and
have like a
them needs his
major.
powers, I think, don't they, for
Yeah,
their thing to work?
yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna use him and bring him over, and then use his powers, and then See how that goes.
Yeah, but he's like the most conflicted out of all of them. And then you have Ice Cold Kid, who's like the most chill out of all. Like not like wow, like I mean, no pun intended, but he's like literally like the most chill person. Like he's like so like laid back and stuff like that. Like he doesn't really like he's not really hot headed or short tempered as
Yeah,
any of the other ones. So yeah, it'll
yeah, I
be
agree.
interesting to see those. Do you think that they're going to be the main villains of next season, or do you think it's going to be like they're just going to be kind of like the side problem, like a side like villain, like with
I
a
don't
bigger
see that. I
goal?
think they have to be the main villain because I don't think it makes sense for them to be a side villain unless like the like Unjustice Society people like escapes and like they're the main villain, for example, or something like that. I don't think they should be side villains, but we'll just have to see, really.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
All right. Speaking of seasons, we're for the past 4 weeks now, we've been ranking all the different CWDC shows, and now we've come to the big daddy of them all. I mean, besides Smallville, we are going to be today. We're going to be ranking Arrow, all seasons of Arrow, and this is actually one of my favorite episodes, or sorry, favorite shows ever. Like,
I'm here.
I mean, it is by far my favorite show in the Arrowverse, but like in
Yeah,
terms of just shows of all time, this is by far one of my favorites.
I'm kind of the same. It's definitely in my top five. I would have to say.
Yeah, for sure. So, Brendan, do you want to start us off with your number four
Okay,
or
I have
number eight?
season.
Sorry, number eight.
Yeah, number eight. For number eight, I have season four. Season four is when Oliver Queen, obviously, and Felicity Smoke moved away from Star City for I don't know if it was like forever or for a break or whatever.
I think it was like just one episode. I think it was like the start of like, the first episode of the season.
Yeah, it was the first episode where they like Oliver just moved away from Star City and got like in the different headspace and whatnot. And yeah, and Felicity and him lived together. This is the season where the main villain was Damien Dark. I think this was really the first season they brought more of like magic and like actual superpower stuff into it. Really, I
I
think.
think it's the only season where they kind of use superpowers. There wasn't really
Yeah,
another villain who had that type of mystic type of
yeah,
vibe of feeling to them. Like I mean, the
yeah,
closest we got is like probably Rachel Ghoul. Actually, we can kind of count the Anti Monitor as the main villain for season 8, but
yeah,
like I
yeah.
don't know. We'll get to that later. We'll get to that
I'll
later.
get to that later. Yeah, so this season was not really that good in my opinion. I love Damien Dark as a villain. I don't know why he's just such a good villain. He's like a scary type of villain. Like he can just snap your neck with one squeeze of his hand, like he was using the force or whatever. But like obviously this is where Earth One, Kate, Black Canary died. Earth One Canary. And yeah, so I think that it like what's the word? Like, they try to make it higher stakes sort of thing, but I don't know. This season was just for me not memorable at all. Besides Damien Dark, for me.
Yeah, season 4 is also my number 8, and it's by far one of the worst like seasons in the Arrowverse. Like it's down there with like
Yeah,
Legend season 4, but like
yeah,
with Arrow season 4, it's just depressing. Like there wasn't
yeah,
really anything to be really excited about. I mean, at the start of the season, we did get that hint that someone on Team Arrow was gonna die, but
yeah,
like we just didn't know who. But okay, with Laurel dying, there was no
mm,
reason to kill her off. There's actually no reason to kill anyone off. Like
yeah,
I don't know, like because like none of their stories were finished, and like
yeah,
that the CW messed up real bad when they killed Laurel to the point where they had to introduce her in like later on in that same year. Like this is because in season 4 of Arrow, you'll said season 2 of the Flash that was airing, they introduced Earth to Laurel Lance, and then
mm,
she made her way onto the Arrow show the next year in season 5,
yeah,
and then she kind of had like this huge like redemption arc in season 6 and season 7 and I guess kind of season 8 as well. But it's like they know that they messed up to the point where okay, well, we have to bring her back somehow, so they're going to use her doppelganger. Like that
yeah,
you just know for a fact that like it was not a good this sorry, excuse me, it was not a good decision in terms of storytelling, in terms of like writing and whatnot, because like again, like I said, it makes no sense to kill anyone off. There's no reason to kill anyone off, and like if they were going to raise stakes, obviously they can't just be like, "Oh, I'm going to destroy a city again," because this is like what the fourth season in a row now where they're going to do something like that. So I guess they
Yeah,
have to increase the stakes somehow. But
yeah.
like, I feel like they could have done something different. You know, like
I think
maybe
so
like
too. Like, I don't know if anybody really needed to die, but
like
I
no
think,
one needed to die. There was no reason to kill anyone off. And if they
yeah,
did kill anyone off, well, like which obviously they did, they just
yeah,
knew it was a bad mistake. They had to kind of undo it to some extent.
yeah. They had, yeah, which was still kind of weird for me. Yeah, that season was just kind of whack. Like, it wasn't really an enjoyable season. I really liked Damien Dark as a villain, though. That was like the only reason I
Yeah.
really decently liked that
Yeah,
season.
about that. Damien Dark, like I don't know, like I feel like on Legends we get more of his character because it's kind of
Yeah.
expanded on because he has a daughter and whatnot. But like
Mm,
in Arrow, he seemed like for this is just for me. He seemed really bland, and the magic stuff just didn't really work. I don't like. I understand like they're trying to do something different, but
mm,
like it really just removed the ground the not ground but like it was more of like a very grounded story for Arrow, right? Like because we
yeah.
had the first three, sure we had like people on drugs and whatnot, and as them being the main villains like Deathstroke, but
Mm,
um I just didn't like the idea of bringing in any type of like powers, like having a villain that had powers, because it's like, well, now you're just kind of making it into like the Flash to some extent,
yeah.
because like you're like I said, you're removing the groundedness of Arrow, because like
Yeah.
you have the Flash, which yeah, the Flash is all about having all about like powers and like all like the just, like super sciencey mystic stuff and whatnot. Well,
Yeah.
actually, no, that Legends is more mystic stuff, but like super sciencey, powers and all that, like all like the very
Mm,
fictional stuff.
yeah.
Arrow, okay, obviously Arrow is not that realistic, but like with season four,
Yeah.
they made it really unrealistic to the
Mm,
point where it's like I just cannot throw away, I just cannot put aside my disbelief, because
mm,
like like in most forms of like superhero media or just any media in general, I can throw away my I can throw away my disbelief, because it's like, well, obviously this is not going to be real. I mean, it can be real to some extent, but not really. With
yeah.
Arrow, what made it so special for the first three seasons, like I mean first three seasons before season four, was that it was very grounded storytelling, and introducing magic kind of ruins that type of vibe, to the point
Yeah.
where like later seasons they just don't feel the same. Now obviously season like you have later seasons which are actually pretty good, like season 5 was pretty good, the first half of season 7 was actually really good. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
season 5 was really good, first half of season 7 was really good, but the reason why is because they kind of went back to the grounded storytelling, you know.
Yeah.
They realized that like, yeah, you can't really have people with powers becoming the main villains of a show that's focused on a guy with a bow and arrow and trying to
Mm,
save the city, all that stuff. That's like that's like if all of a sudden in like a Spider-Man, like now I know that like Spider-Man has powers, but like take like a Spider-Man movie, all of a sudden like that movie he's dealing with aliens, like an alien invasion, like that's not really much of a Spider-Man movie, more or less that's just an alien invasion movie.
yeah.
It kind of removes the type of charm in a Spider-Man type of media. It's kind of the same thing here. Arrow has its charm. Its charm was that it was very dark and brutal and um very grounded. But once you introduce magic, it's like, well, that's kind of the groundedness is kind of removed, and I guess like you just have your stereotypical superhero beats the bad guy who has all the superpowers and whatnot. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just didn't like the idea of magic being introduced in Arrow. It just didn't
Yeah.
really work with the show. Yeah, it kind of ruined the vibe for the later seasons. Although again, like I said, there are some seasons that happen after season 4 that are actually pretty good. So I'll
Yeah.
get into that later.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. For my number 7, I have season 3. This is the season where Deathstroke, I believe, killed Oliver Queen's mother. Mm,
No, that's
oh,
season 2. The season 3
season
is the
2.
one with Ra's al Ghul and the
Oh yeah, Rachel. Yeah.
League
Oh
of
yeah.
Sad
Sorry.
Symbiote.
My bad. Bad. Okay. So see, I have season 3 as my number 7. So this is the one with Ra's al Ghul, as Marley said. So this is the one where I think at the end of the season he lost to Ra's al Ghul. Was at the beginning. Forget.
That was in the middle of the season. He got Oliver Queen lost to that duel on
Yeah.
top of that mountain.
Yeah. Like I don't remember much about the season. I remember Ra's al Ghul being a really cool character, and when Oliver went against him, I already knew he was kind of screwed. He had no chance of being Ra's al Ghul on his own, in my opinion. But obviously, season had obviously its ups and downs. I think Ra's al Ghul is one of the most, say, one of my favorite villains of all time. I must say that because of Ra's al Ghul is such a cool character that he's just a badass in general. Like he can do pretty much everything. And with the Lavius Pit, he if he dies, he can just come back to life and come back to life and come back to life. But obviously, he's different every time. But he has his gang of assassins as well. Like, yeah, I think I think season 3 is is the darkest season of Arrow. I think. Like, how can I say this?
I'd say otherwise, but yeah, yeah.
I think
Why do you think it's the darkest?
I don't. It's hard to explain because I think okay, maybe it's not the darkest, but I think it's one of the darker ones in Arrow in general because I don't know because Oliver pretty much got stabbed through the chest and he pretty much didn't die. Like, it was just one of those darker seasons that I can't really know how to explain it, sort of thing. Like I don't know. I think it was one of the darker seasons, but that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was dark, but like, I mean, I think that there are some other seasons that were darker than that.
Hmm.
For yeah, season 3 was all right for me. That's actually kind of a little bit up on my list. For my number 7, it's actually season 6. Now, season 6 was let's just say it was a very unbearable season to watch because you had a lot of like arguing and whatnot. Like, there was just a lot of like infighting in Team Arrow, and it's like, okay, I understand that, yeah, that's gonna happen with every team, but not to the extent where like everyone leaves him. And now you may be thinking, well, that's just probably because the villain was just that good. Like Ricardo Diaz, I mean, he was probably just that good of a villain, to break
Oh, okay.
his team apart. But like, um,
I remember why it's one of the more darker seasons when you're done talking.
okay, yeah, but yeah, with like season 6, it just was like I said, it was very unbearable to watch. You had all the different all that infighting and whatnot, which I mean, it's fine and all that, but when you have people like when you have like everyone on the team fighting each other, and like you had like
Yeah.
that one scene where like Oliver's fighting with Diggle and whatnot. I don't know. It just ruins the whole mood. Oh, not mood, but it just ruins it. Yeah, just yeah. It ruins the mood of like the show because it's like you're supposed to be like a team of like awesome
Yeah.
looking dudes and whatnot, and like they're supposed to go out there and like save the. Well, it's more than just that, but like and like with team like yeah, like I understand that the difficulties of having a team, but like when you
Yeah.
go so much, it's like with Titan season 2 where there was so much infighting in the team that's like, okay, am I supposed to believe that they're actually a team? Because look, the difference here is that we actually did see this team operate before, like as a team,
Mm.
yeah, with teamwork and whatnot, but like it's so like broken in a way. Like the way that they handled like the infighting was so like just very very off.
Mm.
Like it wasn't really straightforward. Well, not straightforward, but it was just very. I don't know. I just can't find the words for it because it's like just kind of like convoluted in some ways as well. Like it's really hard to like give you my best description of what I think about season 6, other than saying that it's just so unbearable because of all the infighting and whatnot.
Mm.
Like I don't know. It's just like yeah, the villain was cool.
Yeah.
Actually, there were some really cool moments, like when Prometheus was like inside Oliver's head. I thought that
Yeah.
was really interesting. That was actually a really good episode. It's actually the best episode that season. But
Yeah.
besides that, I just didn't find it like I just didn't find it enjoyable to watch. It was really depressing. I'll just say that it
Yeah.
was so depressing, so much so that like I kind of had to take a break from watching that season. Now I was binge watching that, and when I
Yeah.
binge watch, I just go straight for like right now I'm binge watching Black Lightning, and yeah, the first 2 seasons were kind of atrocious, so I took really long breaks in between episodes. But
Yeah.
like with season 3, I can just watch it straight forward for Black Lightning
Yeah,
because it was really
exactly.
good. But like with Arrow season 6, it's kind of the same thing with Spotlight in seasons 1 and 2, where I just had to take kind of not long, like, extremely long breaks, but I had to take breaks in between episodes because they're so bad. You know, like I just
Yeah,
yeah, I really don't know. Like I don't know, just season 6 was just not very unenjoyable for me. I just say
yeah,
that.
I get that. I'm gonna go back to my season 3 and why I think it's the darkest season because I I remember now that they show a lot of like memories of like Oliver before he came back, like back to Star City when he was just on the island, like he was in Russia and he was like forced to torture people, like people he loved killed on the island, and like Felicity all apparently almost died in season 3. It was like bloody and a bunch of stuff, and like it was just one of the darker seasons because we got to see what happened to Oliver and the stuff he had to go through. Like he got tortured, he got like thrown everything at him. But he was like all over the world though at that point, so that's why I thought it was kind of darker that he met all these people, but had so much like stuff he had to go through. So that's
Yeah,
why I
for
think
sure.
it's one of the darker seasons. But we'll go on to my number 6, which is actually the one you were just talking about. I have season 6 at number 6. I think I get all of your points that you obviously said, like them fighting and whatnot. But that has to happen at least once. When usually when like a team of like any superheroes in general, other people are going to have different opinions and they're going to argue. That's how it's going to go. That's why I have it at number 6. I kind of enjoyed a little bit of the fighting, but obviously they make up in the future and whatnot.
Yeah, but
But
it's like to the point for me. It was just to the point where it's like it's so unbearable because they were constantly fighting each other. Where it's like, well, I mean, I guess this is a whole part of the villain's plan, but at the same time, it's like it's just so unbearable and
mm,
unenjoyable to watch. Like again, like I said, it's one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy watching Titan season 2 because of the so much infighting. Where it's like,
mm,
okay, this is actually a huge part of the story. Like, yeah, I get the fact that there's going to be disagreements with team members, but but when it expands through like a large portion of the season, that's when it just gets to like the point where it's like it's just so dreadful to watch. You know?
yeah, and I think I have the season high because I like the villain. The villain was cool, and like what they did to the island. I believe that was that was season 6, where Oliver saved his son, but almost all of his other friends and family and loved
Yeah, the
ones
start of
almost
season
died.
6. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't mind season 6. I understand where you're coming from though, with all the arguing and whatnot, but I still think season 6 is a decent season. I don't think it's the worst. I don't think it's the best. I think it's just moi.
Yeah. Yeah, my number 6 has to be season 3. Now, I
Hmm.
mean, it gets a lot of undeserved hate, kind of similar to Flash season 3, but at the same time, it gets a lot of deserved hate as well. Like killing off Sarah in like the first couple episodes of the season was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was a really rough start to the season. I unlike the Flash season 3, Arrow season 3 was like I mean, it was all right. Like I think there were some pretty cool moments, but
Hmm.
um I don't know. I mean, I guess we did get Laurel kind of becoming the Black Canary, or yeah, in
Yeah.
a way, and kind of to honor her sister and whatnot. So that was
Yeah.
interesting. But like other than that, I just didn't find season 3. I also didn't find season 3 that memorable as well. I mean, yeah, Rachel Gould was pretty cool, but like, mm. Oh, this is also the first season where we got introduced to Ray Palmer. So I guess I mean
Yeah.
that's good. That's a one pluses. So yeah, the villain was cool. The flashbacks were very forgettable. We did get introduced to Ray Palmer. I just say Ray Parker. Sorry, Ray Palmer.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but other than that, the actual story itself was. I don't know. I just didn't. It also was kind of unenjoyable as well, similar to season 6, but not to the extent of season 6.
Hmm.
So, did you want
Okay.
to move on to your season 5,
Yeah.
or sorry, your number 5?
My number 5. I have season 7. This is when Oliver obviously went to prison. For most of the episodes, he was in prison,
This is
and
the first half of the season.
the first half of the season, he was pretty much in prison. And I don't know why. I always like superheroes going to prison and going through some stuff, like how much stuff he had to go through, and like Laurel or Earth 2 Laurel is like kind of what was she? I forget what she was. Was she like the co-president or something like that?
She was work. I think like she kind of like started off as like still sort of an anti-hero, but then she kind of like changed. She like
Hmm.
changed over time, and she
Yeah,
joined the team, like
yeah, and
team.
I believe in this season, Oliver's half sister comes up it to
She was
become the
like
new Arrow.
one of the villains.
She
Yeah,
was one of the
Emiko
villains, but
Green.
in the first half, she was like kind of like the hero sort of person, and then towards the end, she kind of turned evil. But I don't know why I really enjoyed this season. I always like a season where like the person goes to jail and like knows they're innocent and whatnot. But in season 7, I thought was really good. I could have maybe put it a little higher, but I think the ones I have above it are like top tier for me. Like her half sister was one of the bigger things I thought was super cool in this season. I forget. I don't know how to say her name. It starts with
Emiko Adachi or
Imiko.
Emiko.
Yeah, Imiko is. I think she's super cool. I think I feel like they could have done a little bit more with her, but that's just me. I don't know if she had to. I like that she was like the villain. It turned out she was like the villain, but she was doing for what she wanted to do,
Yeah,
sort
the
of thing.
Ninth Circle. I think that's the name of the secret organization. They
Yeah,
weren't really expanded on enough. I mean, we did like they were discussed a lot about like, oh, the Ninth Circle is going to be disappointed in you or
yeah,
something like that, but we don't really actually
and it,
see the Ninth Circle itself.
yeah, and
We
that
just hear about it. That's another thing. Like it's like I just don't like that when like there's like a secret society, but we don't actually see it. I
yeah.
mean, maybe it's secret for a reason, but at the same time, this is a show, so like maybe it could be nice to see what the secret society is about. It's kind of like with
Hmm.
Leviathan and Supergirl. We got to see what Leviathan was about, even though yeah, it
Yeah,
is a secret society.
yeah. And I believe this is also the season where the Monitor pretty much told Oliver that he was going to die. Same with like obviously Barry and Girl. I think this it was like at the very end of the season. I think this is the when Oliver had her
Had
daughter.
to leave. Yeah, he had to leave
They had to
to
leave.
work with the Monitor. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
uh,
season 7 is also on my number 5 spot.
hmm,
You kind of explain it well for me. I did really like the prison storyline. It was
yeah,
like the story was actually really good there. The second half of the season didn't really carry as much weight. But it still
yeah,
was good. It was a very enjoyable season, nonetheless. It was
yeah.
really interesting to have Oliver actually like work with the police and like reveal himself as the Green Arrow. I mean, everyone knows about that now, but like, um, actually like fighting alongside the police and all that stuff. Yeah, like I said, it was really interesting. It was a more enjoyable season. I will say that. I feel like with season 3, okay, season 3, I'm gonna take back my statement. It's not completely unenjoyable. There were moments I did enjoy. Like I honestly would rather watch that season over season 6 or season 4 because those two
Yeah.
seasons were just atrocious. But
Hmm.
yeah, like season 3 was like, it was all right. Season 7, okay, I genuinely enjoyed it, even though yeah, obviously it's not the greatest, but yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the season. It was kind of a breath of fresh air after season 6
Yeah.
because like that season was just unbearable for me.
Hmm.
The villains, yeah, I don't know, they weren't as good as season 6, but we did get the first half of season 6 finishes off uh the Ricardo Diaz storyline. Or sorry, the first half of season 7, yeah, finishes off the Ricardo Diaz storyline, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So for my number 4, I have season 5. Um, to be honest, I don't remember much about season 5, but I do remember this is when like everyone came together like as a team, obviously, and what I forget. I'm terrible with names. I forget like all their names. But I remember most of them coming together and like don't remember who the villain was for season 5 either.
Prometheus.
Prometheus. Oh yes. So yeah, I don't remember much about season 5, but I remembered I enjoyed it a lot. honest, I don't remember why. It's just one of those things where this is when like the first like Oliver Queen or the Arrow group, as I call it, because
Team Arrow.
Arrow, like the first Team Arrow came together. Really, is why I remember it, and that's why I enjoyed it a lot because I've always been a big fan of heroes like coming together and joining a team and just being called Team Arrow. But I don't remember much about this season. Maybe this could be lower on my list, but I don't remember much. So, it's your number 4.
Number 4 is season 8. Now, season 8 was a shorter season, but yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. It's also a really enjoyable season. It was basically a love letter for the fans because like it had a lot of
Yeah.
very nostalgic moments. Like the first episode was really good because it was basically
Yeah.
just season 1 just rehashed again, which
Mm.
which was great. Like we had like all the nostalgic moments from season 1. It was really cool. Obviously, it was very focused around Crisis on Infinite Earths, so
Yeah.
there wasn't really a main villain, like, unless if you want to count the Anti-Monitor as the main villain, which I guess he is.
Mm. Yeah.
Because like Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 4 is an Arrow episode technically, but so yeah, I guess if you're only watching Arrow and you get to that point, I mean, I guess you'd be missing out on a lot, but yeah, um, yeah, like season 8, like it was just really fun. It was super fun
Yeah.
season. Yeah, there were some
Yeah.
really hard hitting moments, but like other than that, and like yeah, they were great. Like I
Mm.
just have a lot. Well, not a lot, but I just have mostly positive things to say. There's not really one negative thing to say about that
Yeah.
season because like even if there was like a filler episode, which I don't think there was, even if there was a filler episode, it still ties into the story. It still found a way to tie in the story somehow, so which is great. Like we did get like the future Team Arrow, they meet the current Team Arrow and all that stuff, and it was really interesting to see all of that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, other than that, yeah, season 8 was just fun for me. It was a really fun season, but it
Mm.
obviously wasn't as good as some of my top 3. But
Yeah.
yeah, by no means is it bad. It's actually really good. So
Okay. So for my number 3, I actually have season 1. Season 1 is obviously, I think this was like the beginning of DCU or the Arrowverse shows. Like kind of the beginning of it, like the main guy. Like it's called the Arrowverse for a reason. So obviously, this is when Oliver Queen got found off the island, and he came back to Star City. And then he didn't. He was a changed man. Obviously, he didn't really care mostly about money. He just used his money to buy like a club and whatnot with like his friend, what his friend's name is, and then he just turned Oliver Queen. And this is probably one of my favorite Oliver Queens because he just pretty much just killed everybody and didn't care. Like, he just did not care about people's lives because they were all in his father's book. Like, was one of the main reasons he kind of died, sort of thing. And, yeah, I just remember having so many good memories with season 1. This is the first time, like, Arrow, like when it first begun. This was the thing. This is what happened, and now it's like all changed. Like, it was just so enjoyable this season.
yeah, yeah, for sure. That it was a very enjoyable ride. I mean, it was like it wasn't something that we saw like a live action superhero show. It was something that we got like the way that season 1 worked. It was so unique that it
Yeah.
really set the tone for the rest of the show. And I really wish that some other seasons would follow that same route.
Yeah.
But like obviously they had to change and evolve, and and some of the changes were positive, some of them were negative. We'll get into that later. Um, I guess like what I mean. Speaking of later seasons, my number 3 actually is season 5. Now, this is actually one of the really good seasons. I enjoyed this a lot. It was like again, like I said, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air because season 4 was so bad that I didn't really expect much of season 5, and then season 5 just blew me away because okay, so Oliver Queen was on the island for 5 years. So obviously, like because like each season would fall like 1 year when he was away from home. So like on season 1, it would fall like the beginning of him on the island, and season 2 would be a second year on the island. Season 3, so on and so forth. Um, season 5 was like supposed to cap off all the flashbacks and whatnot, and the flashbacks a lot of people complain about them because they didn't really play a huge part in the story. But I kind of argue the opposite. I feel like they are each. I feel like they're important because
Mhm.
they're going to come back into the current story in some way, shape, or form. Like in season 5, Oliver trains. Well, yeah, Oliver works with the Broadfa, but he also trains with Talia, who later comes back to kind of like take revenge on like Oliver for killing her father and whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it was more than just the flashbacks. The flashbacks were really good, but also the story itself was really good. The villain is by far one of my favorite villains of all time, Prometheus. He was
Mhm.
so awesome.
Yeah.
I just love how he was portrayed. I mean, we just only had one iteration of him in terms of like show or movie. But yeah, Prometheus was just so much fun as a villain.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
like I like his philosophy of like, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna like make sure you suffer so badly. Like I'm gonna like everything you touch dies. Like that. Like he is like such an interesting Arrow like villain. Like in my
Fun.
opinion, he's like the second best villain in all of the Arrowverse. Like him and Deathstroke are like the two best villains in the Arrowverse because
Yeah.
like they're like their mentality is so interesting. It's so fascinating and all that because you don't see villains like that a lot. Like it's rare to come across villains like Deathstroke and Prometheus. But yeah,
Mhm.
Prometheus or AJ Chase was huge, like a very memorable villain. I think that's the reason why they made him the Green Arrow of Earth 2 at the start
Mhm.
of season 8. Because I mean they brought back a character like a villain that somehow everyone loves, and he's such a great villain
Yeah.
were increased in a great way, like because season before, season 4,
Mhm.
um, they increased the stakes, but they did it in a really poorly manner. Like they had to kill off Laurel Lance, which is really stupid. But in season 5 of Arrow, they increased the stakes in a great way. They had everyone meet back on the island, which I thought that was great for
Yeah.
Adrian, because since Adrian Casey's just played mind games with Oliver Queen, I found it to be great where they all meet back on Lian Yu. That's
Yeah.
kind of like that becomes full circle, and all that stuff. Like I said, I found that to be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I don't know, the way that they incorporate every single character into that season works so well. Like every character doesn't feel wasted. I mean, I guess like maybe like Captain Boomerang feels a little bit wasted, but like when they
Yeah.
brought back Deathstroke, I was just it was that's when like it got really up. Like it was so good.
Yeah.
And then
So
the
good.
ending was great. The cliffhanger was like one of the best. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. The season, it was just an enjoyable ride. It was a fun ride. Brendan, did you want to move on to your number 2? No?
Yes, my number two. I actually have season two. So season two is where Oliver Queen's best friend died, and they introduced, I believe, a decent amount of characters in this one. Because, like, I think they introduced in the season Roy Harper. I don't know if he was in season one. I think they just introduced
He
him.
was in season 1, but like, he plays a larger role in season 2.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He plays a larger role, and then I believe this is when Sarah. I think I was like close to the end of season two. It was a Black Canary.
And
Obviously, it
of course,
was
the end of
Sarah
season 1, she I think she came back like really early in season 2 as the
yeah,
Black,
as the
or
Black
just a
Canary. So
canary, at least that's what they called her.
yeah, and God, you got to help me with this one. The main villain was Thea's dad,
Deathstroke.
right? Is it Deathstroke? What was
Yeah, it was
Thea's dad?
Deathstroke.
Which one was Thea's dad main villain?
That was season 1.
Oh, season one. Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so this season was very good. This was one of the was one of the better seasons. Deathstroke was one of their villains in this, and then this is when Oliver's friend dies, obviously, and then he kind of
That
just
was that
kind of
was at the end of season 1.
was at the end of season one. Okay, well after that, went into a
Yeah.
little bit of season two, a little bit,
Yeah, a
not
little bit. Yeah,
much.
for sure.
I don't know if this is when season two, when Felicity started working with him. I think it was kind of in that area.
Felicity, well, she already was a member of Team Arrow in season
Yeah,
1, but I
yeah,
think
I
like
guess so.
I think like she kind of grows a little closer to Oliver, but they weren't
This is
dating. the
This
time.
is when they kind of got closer, and then Deathstroke, like I said, is one of the better villains in the Arrowverse. Like I just remembered, obviously, because of
Yeah,
Deathstroke. Like I have nothing much really to say. It's just a good season. Like I can't really say anything bad about it. Like it's just a really good season. Like there's nothing much I can say besides that. I don't like. I've really no complaints about the season. To be
yeah,
completely honest.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
my number, what was it? Number two. My number two is season one. Now,
Okay.
season one was really good. Like, I
Yeah.
just love the. Like I said before, it's such a unique. It was so unique to open up a show the way that it did,
Yeah.
and like because it was so dark. It was like one of the first like live action superhero shows where it went really dark. It took like this very dark approach. It was kind of like for me, in some ways, I kind of view it as like it was like a Batman type of show in a way, but instead of Batman, it was Green. It was like the Green Arrow, or at that time known as the Hood. I did like the idea of like the whole story of like the list. I think I really like that idea. It was really cool. It was really interesting for Oliver Queen to kind of go on like this like revenge type of story arc. Or not revenge, but like yeah, like he's on like a
Yeah.
mission which it questions his morality because it's like okay, is he what he if what's he's do is he really doing the right thing?
Yeah.
You know that stuff. So it's like yeah, it was really fascinating of a season. I did, like I said, I did like how dark it was, and um,
Yeah.
it's kind of like with Daredevil, you know, like
Yeah.
this is basically the Daredevil of DC. You know, the first couple of
Yeah.
seasons of Arrow. It was really cool. I mean, I also really like the whole like Oliver Queen is working by himself type of thing. I honestly kind of preferred that over Team Arrow, but you know,
Yeah.
I did. There's some moments of Team Arrow where it's great. You know, like in season eight. I think season eight Team Arrow was awesome.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
yeah, with season one, it was all just all by himself, and it was just so awesome. It was just like I don't know how to like I'm just troubling to find the words because it is just like it's just so captivating to me. It just takes
Yeah.
like my breath away as to how amazing that show was. You
Yeah.
know?
This was like season one was like the first one I fell in love with. I don't remember if it was it the first ever Arrowverse show. I don't think it was. I might be tripping.
Well, I
Season.
mean, in terms of like the like it did set up, it did start the Arrowverse, but like
Mm,
obviously, yeah, there were shows before that eventually got integrated into the universe, like Smallville and the '60s Batman show. But like
yeah.
we didn't know that they were in the same, you know, multiverse and whatnot.
Yeah. This is the one like when you watch season one, you automatically fell in love with it. Like it was just so
Yeah, for
good.
sure.
Like you can't like the villains like in Arrow are probably the best villains in all of Arrowverse in my opinion. Most of them are really good. Some of them are better than others, obviously. But
Yeah.
season
Speaking
one
of the
was
villain, sorry, you
sorry,
can.
go ahead. I was just saying like season one is like you remember season one, like you just remember it. Like
Yeah,
you
the
just
villain was also really good too, and
yeah
this season really set the tone, like really set the, I guess, like the bar for what live action superhero shows could become.
yes, I
Sure, there were
agree.
other shows before, like the '90s Flash show. You had Smallville as well, but like those shows were like more lighthearted and happy, right?
Yeah.
This was like the first well, not the first, but this was like one of the first few superhero shows where it really went dark. We weren't expecting
Yeah,
this. This is like again, like I said, this is kind of like if Batman had a live action show. So
yeah.
obviously, like they kind of already did, which is Gotham, but it's not really much of a Batman show. More or less, it's just a Gotham show. But
Yeah.
like this was
It
like
was
the
pretty much
closest thing we've got.
Gotham
So
was more of like just for Batman.
yeah, but um, like honestly, like the first couple of seasons of Arrow was like the closest thing we can ever get to a live action Batman, like a true live action true Batman show. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe thinking what about Batwoman? Yeah, but yeah, Batwoman. I don't know, like it's good in some aspects. Like I really like the second half of of season one of Batwoman, but at the same time, there's like it just didn't live up to the same expectations, or not. It just didn't do as well as Arrow, the earlier
Yeah.
seasons of Arrow. Now, now you have to look at it from this way: the earlier seasons of Arrow were just legendary. Like season one and two were just legendary. Season
Yeah,
5 is also legendary as well. Those are just legendary superhero seasons. So
yeah,
like obviously not like I don't think there's going to be anything in terms of DC that could top any of those seasons.
yeah.
Now before anyone says, "Oh, what about Titans? Titans is really good." No, it's not. It really isn't. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I don't know, but it just doesn't try it doesn't try too hard to be too moody. Like it knows
Yeah,
what to do. The show itself is kind of self aware in some sense, where it's like, yeah, it's not gonna go extremely dark where like they're gonna start like cussing each other out and stuff like that. Like it's not trying to be like so moody like Titans. Like, hey, with Titans they don't know how to handle them. Like they have the blue light filter. They have everyone say the F word every 5 minutes. I don't know, man. Like that show just failed in trying to like bring
yeah.
a really darker type of superhero show. All like Arrow, like shows like Arrow, Watchmen, and Daredevil are like the shows that truly successfully know how to take the more darker approach to like
Mhm.
super to comic book shows and whatnot. Like they know
Yeah.
how to do it,
Yeah,
right?
and I would just like to say, like, when I'm comparing like superhero TV shows, I compare it to Arrow. Like, just in general, when a TV show's good, I don't think it's gonna take. Like, if Stargirl keeps going where it's going, I can maybe see it being Arrow, but they would have to have like a lot of seasons to do that. I don't think. I don't know if Stargirl will be that long, but I think if Stargirl keeps doing what it's doing, then maybe it could be better than Arrow. But
Yeah.
usually when I compare TV shows like superhero TV shows, I always compare it to obviously Arrow because it's like it's where it all began and where I fell in love with superhero TV shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like beforehand, not there wasn't a lot of superhero TV shows, and the only superhero
Yeah.
TV shows we got were animated shows, and not to say that they're bad. Like Spectacular Spider-Man was a really good superhero show, and that was an animated one. Another
Hmm.
one would be Batman the Animated Series. Those are like legendary at like S tier superhero shows, but they're animated. In terms of live action, yeah, we got Smallville. Smallville was actually really good,
Yeah.
although the effects are really outdated. Like that show, I'm just gonna say right now that Smallville like has aged poorly.
Yeah.
It aged really poorly over the years. But
Yeah.
it really like even though Arrow is not the first superhero like live action superhero show, it really was like a pioneer in some sense because like now like after that show and after like it because they introduced the Flash in season 2
Yeah.
after well I guess Barry Allen but like once Arrow kind of became like a popular name in terms of the in like the TV show business like other companies started like try like to get in on like the superhero craze. Like you obviously like Marvel started like you notice like haven't you noticed? But like ever since like Arrow season 1, like Marvel is now kind of like let's see what we can do with like live action
Yeah.
TV shows. Like
Yeah.
they did with like the Netflix shows and those were pretty good. But then they also tried with like
Most of them were good, but some of
yeah
them
most of them were
aren't.
good.
They're not up to Arrow standards. I will say that.
Yeah. But like then they also tried other shows like I think it's called like I think X Legion or something like that. They also had other
Yeah.
shows like Runaways and
Yeah.
Cloak and yeah, I think what was the other one? Yeah, Cloak and Dagger, I think that
Cloak and
was the
Dagger,
one.
yeah, and they're also
Yeah.
bringing out like the main like TV shows like Captain America and Falcon or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, then they also had the MCU Plus shows. Or
Yeah,
yeah, the
so
Disney Plus MCU shows. But
yeah,
like you notice ever since Arrow season 1, Marvel has been getting on the grind for like the superhero shows as well because they want
yeah.
to compete as well, you know? They
Well,
want to dominate both
they
the
want
movies
to be
and the
really the
shows.
best.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
they- like Marvel obviously made better movies at the moment, but DC slowly coming up. I think that kind of scares them. So like obviously the DC TV shows you can't the Arrowverse shows, like you can't compare them to Marvel shows. Like the only real Marvel show that has there's two Marvel shows that I think have competition is Daredevil and The Punisher are like the only two that like I can see being better than maybe like some of the DCU shows. But besides that, I don't think I think DC has TV shows down and Marvel has movies down. But DC's getting better every day. So
Yeah, for sure. But like,
both,
yeah, I think for Arrow season 1 really set the bar. It was like, and like I
yeah,
said,
it set
it
the
was a
bar.
pioneer in live action superhero shows. So yeah, I also had to give credit where it's due, but it's more than
Yeah,
just that. It's a really good season. Like it was
yeah,
just that good that like everyone got in like superhero craze. You know, even
yeah,
like some people, even like some other TV studios were like, oh, let's make our own superhero shows. Like after the success of the Flash season 1 yeah, like CBS is like, oh, well, we'll make our own show. We'll do Supergirl, but like, that didn't really work out that well. But I guess now it's in the CW and all that stuff. But it was like
Yeah,
Gotham as well. Like Gotham was a really good show as well. So yeah, like I feel like the superhero craze of shows really like it really set the tone for it, and that's why it's for me it's number two. It's not as good as my number one for obvious reasons, but I'll get
yeah.
to it later.
Okay, so for number one, I actually have the last season of Arrow. I have season 8. The reason I have it here, I had so many emotions about season 8. Season 8, like you said before when you were doing yours, it was mostly based on the Anti-Monitor. There wasn't really a villain. He was just preparing for, like, just
Preparing for crisis, yeah.
preparing for crisis. And, like, I think we all knew. I don't know if we all knew, but I think we all knew that he was gonna die. So this season had me like a couple times that we kind of knew he was gonna die, but in the end, he helped save everyone. So
Yeah.
I can't complain about anything about season 8. Like it's a good. I thought it was a good send off. My opinion.
It was a
It was
great
really
send off. I mean,
it
it's
was a great
in
send
my
off.
opinion, it's like one of the best like closing seasons for a show.
I
Like for
absolutely
me, like I'd rank season 8 of Arrow if I were like to rank ending closing seasons for shows that I watched.
yeah
I'd rank season 8 of Arrow above season 7 of the Clone Wars.
yeah I totally
Except
agree with
like
you on that.
if the last four season or sorry, if the last four episodes of the Clone Wars season 7 were that was like all the season, then yeah, obviously it'll be kind of tough. But
Mhm.
yeah, Arrow season 8 was just like it was a great send off. Like there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, sure, yeah, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't like groundbreaking or anything like that, like Arrow season
Yeah.
1, but it was a great send off regardless.
Yeah, and like it was a great send off, bro. Like like you said, there's nothing bad. Like it was a great send off. I think it was perfect timing as well. Where Oliver needed to die, and this show like needed to stop, sort of thing. I think it was
Yeah,
perfect timing. I think Oliver's done pretty much everything he could in the later seasons, so that's why I have it at number one, bro. Like I had so many great emotions and so many sad emotions about this. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, my number one actually is season 2, and the reason
okay.
why is because actually this is the season that got me really captivated into the Arrowverse.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, season 1 was amazing, no doubt, but like season 2 really just took me away. Like it brought
Mhm.
back one of my favorite villains in just comic books in general, that being Deathstroke.
Yep.
And okay, Deathstroke, I'm just gonna say right now that this version of Deathstroke in the Arrowverse is by far the best version. Sure, he doesn't have the coolest looking suit.
Yes.
Like the
Totally
Titans
true.
Deathstroke has a better suit,
Yeah.
obviously. But in terms of character, this is like so much better because we know a lot about him. He
Yeah.
they went so in depth with his character because well, Slade Wilson in Arrowverse was introduced in season 1, and he was like a mentor figure for Oliver Queen, which we didn't expect that. We expected him to be something different. Like usually Deathstroke or Slade Wilson is like a gun for hire, but in the Arrowverse it's a little bit different. He's more than just a mercenary. He was a former soldier. He also, I mean, I guess it's the same with like Titans as well, but with unlike Titans Deathstroke, he poses a real threat to the team,
Yeah.
rather than just, oh, like let me just sit in the back and like send in my daughter and I don't know, mess their team up and something. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
comparing this
Exactly.
to the Titans Deathstroke because like he was such a disappointment. Like yeah, he has a cool looking
Yeah.
suit,
Yeah.
but
That
like
was
other
like
than
it
that,
for me. Like the Deathstroke in Titans is only cool looking suit. Really. That's
yeah,
it.
he was only cool looking. Other than that, I mean, I guess like the actor who portrayed him was really good as well. I
Yeah.
feel like the script he was giving you was great, but it's nothing compared to Arrow Deathstroke. Arrow Deathstroke is
Yeah.
by far the best Deathstroke, and
Yeah.
in my opinion, he is like the best villain in the Arrowverse, hands down.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because like because since he knows him on a personal level, he knows how to toy with him. It's not like with like
Yeah.
Adrian Chase, where like yeah, he knew how to play mind games with him, but not to the extent that Deathstroke could. Deathstroke
Yeah.
really mocked him. Like he really did a number on Oliver. Like he was never the same after he fought Deathstroke and
Yeah. He
after he
was
fought
never the
Prometheus.
same.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like those villains are like really good because when a villain can do a number on that like you, that's when
Uh,
you know that they're really good. They're more than just
yeah.
oh let me just destroy the world and stuff like that. Like no, like they know how to mess up the heroes like on a big
Yeah.
on like a larger scale. So like Yeah, Deathstroke was just amazing. I really like the stakes were increased. They
Yeah.
actually had like a huge like all out like war near the end of the season where we had Oliver teaming up with the League of Assassins and they went up
Mm.
against Deathstroke's like Mirakuru army. The flashbacks, in my opinion, were like some of the best. They were also some of the darkest as well. But
Yeah.
like yeah, they were really good. They were really
Really
good.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number one. And you had your number one in season 8.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, well, I guess that will be all for today. That was really fun and interesting
Yeah, it was really
discussion that
fun.
we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have, unfortunately, we don't have any DC news for you today, but
Yeah.
I
Some
mean,
will
then
come
again, there's not really
eventually.
a lot to talk about lately.
It'll come. It'll come eventually.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next time. Make sure to check out our Instagram account at the Galactic Arrowverse Hub. Like I said, I'll leave the link down in the description, and we'll see you guys next time.
I hope you guys have a great day.
Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day.